Hi guys, welcome to Midnight Anime Library.
If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow.
Your support means everything, so hit that button and let me know what you want to see next.
Please ignore images. The Day the World Learned Saitama is the strongest. Part 7 Chapter 61, Alea Consciousness, Earth Gaia. There are two reasons.
First, as a martial artist, the Super Fight Tournament is undoubtedly a great opportunity to make a name for oneself. Master Bang also won the championship here. The other reason is that something happened during the last tournament.
The previous champion was a masked contestant who called himself Wolfman, but after the match, people found the real, unconscious Wolfman. After that incident, the tournament mandated that contestants must use their real names and are prohibited from wearing anything on their heads.
Upon hearing Bitter Bug's words, Saitama broke into a cold sweat. The tournament bans condoms? If I'm not mistaken, the reason you're hiding your school is that you're trying to pull some kind of new loophole.
Bitter Bug looked smug, as if he had seen through Saitama's plot.
Saitama was completely panicked. What happens if I get caught?
Bitter Bug said in a deep tone, disqualification, a lifetime ban from competing. After all, that incident happened last year.
You'd definitely be sued, fined, and maybe even thrown in jail. Hearing that he would have to pay a fine, Saitama was instantly terrified, cold sweat pouring down. Seeing Saitama's sweat pooling on the floor, Bitter Bug asked curiously, "What's wrong with you?" "Masaka." Saitama thought Bitter Bug had seen through him and started trembling, panicking internally. To his surprise, Bitter Bug changed the subject. "Do you know who that despicable culprit is?" Realizing he had scared himself, Saitama let out a long sigh of relief. That was close.
Bitter Bug continued, looking at that
person's moves in the match recording. I recognized them at a glance.
There's no mistake, the culprit of the last tournament was
Garou. Saitama asked curiously, "Garou? I've heard that name again. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have had to leave the dojo. Damn it."
Bitter Bug slammed the table in anger, then struck a deal-like pose. "Therefore, I will win the championship in the tournament today, regain my confidence, and regain the confidence that I won't lose to Garou."
Ha ha ha.
Come to think of it, you, who used to be the weakest in the dojo, actually dare to come and participate in this kind of tournament.
You've got a lot of nerve.
I also heard you're calling yourself the head disciple.
Don't be so full of yourself.
If I had known Garou would be expelled from the dojo, I wouldn't have left. Otherwise, the current head disciple of Master Bang would definitely be yours truly, Bitter Bug. Speaking of which, Bitter Bug made a van-like expression. Before you pass out from fear, why don't we start a match and do some wrestling? Hearing this, Saitama's tone gradually became serious. But you still left the dojo.
Bitter Bug's expression changed. Nanny? Sharanko went to deal with Garou alone, but that Garou will be handled by me.
If he continues to hunt heroes, I'll run into him sooner or later. In short, a guy who ran away from the battle shouldn't put on airs as a senior brother.
Hearing this, Bitter Bug stood up angrily. Don't forget what you just said. On the ring, I will teach you what a real battle is.
As Bitter Bug slammed the door and left, the video ended.
After watching the video, the audience was amused. Ha ha ha.
When Saitama heard Bitter Bug wanted to start a match with him, he was so scared he leaked brine all over the floor.
I didn't realize Saitama was so juicy.
Slurp, slurp.
I'm frantically licking the screen. Don't be gross, OP. Wearing this fake wig, looking like a punk, I just want to laugh when I see it. This guy. Saitama really knows how to stir things up. Saitama's head is so slippery, it won't stay on at all. Isn't he afraid the wig will get ripped off during the match? Are you kidding? Who could possibly shake Saitama?
It's not like they can blow the wig off with the wind from a punch or a kick.
Is it even humanly possible to think of such an attack?
Bitter Bug has had his moment of glory, actually being able to scare Saitama into incontinence.
Ha ha ha.
What's even funnier is that this guy Saitama doesn't even know he's already dealt with Garou, and he's there saying seriously, Garou will be handled by me.
Compared to the audience's joy, Shirenko was clearly a bit angry to see Saitama impersonating him in the tournament and getting the school name wrong.
Because this not only insulted Master Bang but also insulted the water stream rock smashing fist. However, when he finally saw Saitama speaking up for him, he stopped being angry and was even a bit touched. Saikyo, arigato. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't have had the guts to talk back to Bitter Bug. After watching the video, Bang was also deeply moved. His dojo used to be crowded, but now, only Shirenko remained.
Thinking about it made Bang sigh.
If only he had been able to properly advise Garou back then, and discovered and corrected the evil in his heart in time, perhaps today's bitter outcome wouldn't have happened.
Bang sighed, in the end, it was my negligence, my fault.
As for Garou, although everyone was on guard, they didn't care too much.
As long as Saitama was there to back them up, Garou couldn't cause any real trouble. Garou could only cause minor trouble, nothing serious.
As for the so-called strongest human monster in history, that was simply alarmist talk.
Didn't the screen give Boros the title of God-level disaster a while ago?
But what was the result?
He was still taken care of by Saitama in minutes.
Unconsciously, all of humanity had subconsciously regarded Saitama as their
ballast.
According to the terminology of fate, Saitama had been chosen by humanity's collective consciousness, the Alaya consciousness, to become the hero of all mankind. Because of this, the Earth's will, Gaia, began to exert its power, gradually spawning more powerful monsters. In other words, the more hope humanity placed in Saitama, the higher the quantity and quality of the monsters that would be born in the future.
The birth of the strongest human monster in history would certainly be stronger than in the original work.
This can also be considered a patch in advance, a god-level Garou with the trinity of divine power plus Gaia's power plus infinite evolution. This way, being able to trade a few blows with Saitama should be more reasonable, right?
Back to the topic.
Compared to Garou's hunting game, the audience wanted to see how Saitama would have his wig ripped off in the tournament.
That's right, the audience was just that mean.
They didn't like watching Saitama act cool and slap others in the face, they preferred watching him get slapped in the face by others. This gave the audience a sense of immoral pleasure from indirectly violating the world's strongest, as well as a twisted sense of satisfaction. Just like how everyone wants to see doujinshis of Fubuki and psychos. Seemingly sensing this public sentiment, the screen suddenly exposed two lewd, high-definition pictures.
One was of Fubuki.
The other was of psychos.
At this moment, the male viewers all seemed to have broken their limiters, their reaction speeds becoming unbelievably fast.
Even though the images only flashed by, they were still successfully screenshotted by the vast majority of men, as well as some lesbians. After getting the pictures, everyone treated them like treasures. Didn't expect to get such benefits from watching a video, it really is the people's good screen. After distributing the benefits, the screen began to expose serious content again.
Chapter 62, Suiryu, Bakuzen appears. On screen. Over a dozen contestants walked onto the ring one after another to present themselves to the audience.
The host shouted passionately, first up, making his debut, the man who operates as a hero under the name Lightning Max, A-Class Hero Rank 19, Extreme Karate Max.
Second, Fist Bell Fist, Lin Lin. Cool Way Style, Ben Patsu. Next, a frequent semifinalist, the tail ender of the A-Class heroes, Snake Bite Fist, Snake. Snake was speechless. Is it really necessary to mention tail ender? There are still many contestants left to introduce. Supercharged Constitution, Thunder Fistfall 10.
Multi-strike flow technique, Green.
Gentle self-defense art, Hamakichi. Giant style pressure killing method, Fatty. Psychological analysis fighting style, Logi. Spice Fist, Mingtai. MAGA professional wrestling, Weak Face. Chosen bloodline fighting style, Chose.
Former master of water stream rock smashing fist, now having struck out on his own, Bitter Bug style fist, Bitter Bug.
Boar Rush Fist, Zayusu. Next up, the man who requested "Don't hit my head" on his questionnaire. Is he here for a joke? Waterball Carbonated Fist, Shirenko. Boo. The moment Saitama appeared, the entire audience booed in unison. Saitama grumbled, "Why do they boo when it's my turn?"
In the stands, only Genos was clapping frantically for Saitama like a seal.
Ha ha ha.
Saitama always has a magical power that makes people want to pee their pants. The moment he appears, everyone starts booing incessantly, waiting for Saitama to spray the audience in the face and show them whose is yellower. Didn't we do the same thing before, judging by appearances, mocking him, and not believing for a second that Saitama is the strongest in the world?
You can't really blame the live audience.
With Saitama's ridiculous look, even those of us who know the truth get a headache looking at him.
Genos is so well behaved, giving Saitama maximum emotional support.
That said, the names of these styles are all trash. I'm not singling them out, I'm just saying that none of the styles present here are cool. As if responding to the audience outside, the host's voice became significantly more excited when introducing the next style. Hailed as the strongest contestant in the history of the martial arts tournament, the man who has won 2 championships, whose battles are always one-sided, yet he claims he has never used his full strength, dark hell murder art, Bakuzen. And the last one, equally invincible, reappearing after a 7-tournament absence, the young legend who once set a record of 4 championships, Void Fist, Suiryu.
That concludes the introductions of all contestants. Now, I announce the 20-second Super Fight tournament is officially open. With the host's command, both the live audience and the viewers outside the screen couldn't help but get excited. Looking at the contestants, besides Saitama, there were 2 others who could be considered quite strong, Bakuzen and Suiryu. I know that Suiryu.
I heard he's very strong, maybe even comparable to an S-class, and he has a sister who is quite the stunner.
Was her name White Tiger? What nonsense are you spouting? White Tiger isn't a noun, it's an adjective. His sister's name is Mizuchi. Ah, right, a tiger with lots of water. As for that Bakuzen, rumors say he's god-defyingly strong. It's said he transcends God, and his battle record is even more absurd than Saitama's. Some have even witnessed him killing gods 108 times in a row. Hiss. No wonder the first time I saw him, I felt like I was approaching menopause. That's just because you haven't had your period, right?
Just as the audience was discussing this, the scene shifted.
The camera moved to the hallway.
Bitter Bug was plastered against the wall, his body trembling incessantly, drenched in sweat, and shivering.
Someone unaware might think he was doing something illicit against the wall.
Bitter Bug kept comforting himself.
Deep breaths, it's alright, I can do this, I've got this. Just then, Saitama walked over. Hey, old man, are you nervous?
This sentence successfully diverted Bitter Bug's nervousness.
He retorted angrily, who are you calling an old man?
Even though my seniority is higher than yours, I'm the same age as you, 20.
Nani? He's younger than me?
Bitter Bug's words completely fried Saitama's CPU.
Are the new generation all this old-fashioned now?
Suddenly, a voice came from behind.
Hey, how come I've never heard of your style? Saitama and Bitter Bug turned around to see it was Zaiusu. He threatened, you're an amateur, aren't you? Don't look down on martial arts, you bastard. Withdraw from the tournament immediately, or don't blame me for being ruthless. Saitama looked at Bitter Bug, did you hear that? He's talking about you. Bitter Bug laughed in anger, he's talking about you. Zaiusu snorted, your sash is tied all messy too. An amateur is an amateur. You still can't tie it properly? I really can't do anything with you.
As Bitter Bug said this, he actually bent down, crouched in front of Saitama, and took the initiative to tie his sash. However, due to the angle, and the fact that Bitter Bug's head was bobbing up and down, it created a very suggestive visual effect. This screen, was it intentional or accidental? How much longer are you going to keep doing that? Seeing the 2 of them being so unbridled in front of him and not inviting him to join, Zaiusu became embarrassed and angry. This is the top stage for comprehensive fighting, not a place for amateurs like you to play around. After Bitter Bug finished tying the sash, he continued to stand up for Saitama. He is, at the very least, from the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist School, he's not an amateur. Zaiusu sneered, him? That kind of trash? That school has fallen to this level. Bitter Bug was angry, what did you say? For this tournament, Bang would have been the chief judge, but he withdrew at the last minute, causing quite a bit of trouble for the organizers. Zayosa pushed up his sunglasses, his tone slightly disdainful. That man, hailed as the treasure of martial artists, the pinnacle of martial artists, seems to be busy with his hero career.
You're getting more and more insolent.
Bitter Bug gritted his teeth and looked at Saitama. Speaking of which, Shirenko, how do you have no temper at all?
Saitama looked blank. Huh?
Even though I left, you're the disciple who stayed until the end.
Ah, right.
Whatever, let him talk.
Nani?
I'm not here to bicker. Since he wants to be ruthless to me, I'll just wait for him to make his move.
Saitama smiled and extended his fist, although, you don't look like you're very strong.
This indifferent tone, combined with Saitama's silly smile, completely infuriated Zayosu. On the other hand, Bitter Bug felt not only relieved but also felt his prostate clear up. He never expected that Shirenko, usually cowardly as a mouse, would have such sharp verbal aggression.
I should find a chance to have Shirenko crouch down and tie my sash too.
Chapter 63, Don't Touch My Head, One Punch Kill. After watching the video, the audience was moved by Bitter Bug once again.
Who would have thought that this burly, rough-looking man was actually the type to have a sharp tongue but a soft heart? You really can't judge a book by its cover.
A senior brother like this is truly rare.
Screen chat box. Atomic Samurai, this Bitter Bug is not bad.
Although his strength is a bit weak, his character is honest and loyal. Silver Fawn, the primary standard for me accepting a disciple is that their character must not be bad. Shirenko, I used to be very afraid of senior brother Bitter Bug, but it seems I misunderstood him. Genos, however, this senior brother of yours must be faceblind.
He couldn't even recognize that it was Saitama-sensei disguised as you. Having gained the approval of Silver Fawn and Shirenko,
Bitter Bug, who was secretly peeking at the screen, was initially quite happy. However, after Genos said that, he felt a bit awkward. But on second thought, the fact that he could stand up for Saitama, the strongest in the world, was enough for him to brag about for the rest of his life. At this moment, the video continued to play.
In the scene, Max, having defeated Ring Ring, was standing on the arena stage.
Watching Suirio's arrival, he felt an indescribable pressure.
He's so popular, is his strength really above mine?
The camera panned to Suirio on the other side. He could be seen wearing an excited expression.
Max closed his eyes. No. That's not it. Hurry up and remember, Lightning Max. The opponent I should be surpassing is Deep Sea King. Compared to that monster, he's just a small fry.
Max opened his eyes and shouted, Suirio-san, I must become stronger, otherwise I am not worthy of being a hero who protects the people. I acknowledge your strength, but unfortunately, I must defeat you today to test my new move.
You seem to be some kind of professional hero, right?
Suirio said calmly, I see. You are honing yourself with noble ideals. That is understandable, after all, everyone has different reasons for pursuing strength.
Seeing Suirio's dismissive attitude, Max gritted his teeth and attacked first.
He sprinted at high speed, then leaped into the air, rolled to build up momentum, and brought his heel down in a chop towards Suirio.
Lightning Great Loop Double Heel Drop. Bang!
But Suirio's movement was faster. With just a single kick from where he stood, he struck Max's face first.
The reason I pursue strength is simple, it's just to.
Immediately after, Max flew backward, rolled on the ground a dozen times, and passed out on the spot.
Live as I please. Suirio retracted his leg and gave a faint smile.
This scene stunned the contestants. The audience at the scene cheered enthusiastically.
However, the audience outside the screen,
having seen all kinds of major battles, were already immune and relatively calmer.
What's going on?
Why do the heroes all treat Deep Sea King as their life mentor? Never mind Prisoner, after all, he's a pervert, but now even Max is like this. Deep Sea King really is a great teacher.
By comparison, Saitama, look at what you've taught Genos.
To be fair, Max has strength, especially after being trained by Deep Sea King, his strength has clearly increased.
But even so, he was still one-shot by Suirya's kick. This Suiryu is indeed on par with S-Class. I wonder if this Suiryu can beat Saitama? But are you sure you're not here to be funny? With Saitama's heaven-defying combat power, what is Suirya going to win with? His butt? He. Maybe Saitama is into that. At this moment, in the scene, Bitter Bug, who was off stage, was already sweating from fear. Shirenko, did you see that? Suirya's kick. Saitama, with his dead fish eye art style, I saw it. Why are you so calm? This left Bitter Bug speechless. However, he quickly reacted, oh, because he's a layman. Next, it was time for the match between Bitter Bug and Weak Face. Saitama shouted from offstage, Bitter Bug, do your best. Bitter Bug was sweating nervously and snapped, shut up, I am, at the very least, a former disciple of Master Silver Fong. Looking at the burly man opposite him, Bitter Bug felt a little scared. He's kind of big. No, I'm stronger than him, probably. On the other side, Weak Face was also feeling scared. This guy looks so fierce. As the match began, Bitter Bug and Weak Face quickly grabbed each other and started wrestling, locking each other in a man-on-man struggle. Watching the two of them stuck together like glue without a clear winner, Saitama went to take a leak. Half an hour later. In the end, Weak Face couldn't withstand the pressure and conceded, and Bitter Bug managed to win with difficulty. Bitter Bug reached out to pull Weak Face up, and the two held hands and raised them high, with tears in their eyes. The announcer declared passionately, contestant Bitter Bug unleashed a beautiful stranglehold. The two are praising each other's performance. What a moving display of sportsmanship. Off stage, Saitama walked out of the restroom and came up to Bitter Bug. Did you win, Bitter Bug? What? You didn't see your senior brother's heroic performance just now? I went to the restroom. You brat. Hey, you need to be careful with your next opponent. I've seen Bakuzen's matches, he never shows mercy to the weak. Hey, you're not listening. Ignoring the chattering Bitter Bug, Saitama walked right past him and onto the stage, preparing to face the strongest, Bakuzen. With that, the video ended. In the dojo. Seeing Bitter Bug's performance, Silver Fawn was also completely helpless. Bitter Bug had good character, but his strength was too lackluster. The match just now made him cover his forehead and sweat profusely the whole time. Silver Fawn was now very worried that the world would mistake Bitter Bug's man-on-man wrestling for the water stream rock smashing fist, which would be truly exhausting. Looking at it now, except for Garou who was kicked out, the other disciples were not impressive at all. Compared to Atomic Samurai's disciples, it was simply unbearable to watch. Finally waiting for Saitama to step on stage, the audience was full of anticipation. They wanted to see if this so-called Bakuzen was really as strong as the rumors suggested. On the other hand, Bakuzen was trembling in fear. If it were before, not knowing who Saitama was, he could still put on an act. But now, how could he dare? My future self, I hope you behave yourself and don't provoke Saitama. A new video began to play. In the scene, Bakuzen said furiously, I'll kill you. It turned out that because Saitama had just come from the restroom, his belt was tied wrong again. After getting on stage, he kept tying it there, completely ignoring Bakuzen, which was why Bakuzen was so triggered. As the referee gave the signal, the match officially began, and the whole audience cheered. However, Bakuzen was not in a hurry to make a move. Because he took a look at Saitama and found that the opponent was full of openings. What is this man thinking? Does he really want to fight? Saitama's nonchalant attitude left Bakuzen completely bewildered. In order to sound him out, Bakuzen walked up to Saitama and probed, You guy, you wouldn't happen to be a layman, would you? Saitama looked innocent. Yeah. To tell you the truth, this is my first time participating in this kind of competition. Let me experience your martial arts, okay? Experience 5G? Bakuzen looked murderous. Fine, as you wish, I'll give you the full execution service. First, the legs. If you get hit by my demon cry low kick,
your leg bones will shatter into dust, and you'll never be able to stand up again.
Then the torso.
Take this bear slaughtering mid-kick, combined with the Azura straight punch, and your arms will break, and your internal organs will explode inside you.
Finally, the head.
With a handblade placed on Saitama's head, Bakuzen grinned maliciously, my hell burial handblade will split your skull open and let you say bye to this world.
Bang!
Unfortunately, before Bakuzen could finish posturing, he was blasted into the sky by Saitama's one punch.
Saitama looked disgusted. Don't touch my head.
As Bakuzen spiraled down and landed straight into the ground outside the arena, the whole place fell into dead silence.
The so-called god-level 108th rank Bakuzen was just one shot like that? Chapter 64, Never have I seen such a shameless person and earth-shattering upset.
The host shouted in shock, the person who defeated the tournament favorite, Bakuzen, is actually the first-time contestant, Shirenko. Meanwhile, Bitter Bug, who was watching this scene from offstage, contributed a reaction face meme comparable to
Saitama's. With that, the video ended. Seeing the final scene, the audience burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Bitter Bug was scared into a meme. That Bakuzen is also hilarious.
With so much trash talk, I thought he was really something, but it turns out he's just a keyboard warrior. Bakuzen is a master of courting death. Out of all the places he could have touched, he just had to touch Saitama's head. He was doing all that flashy stuff, just had to show off, and now look, he's become a clown, hasn't he?
Saitama gave him a chance to show off, but that guy Bakuzen, well, he couldn't take advantage of the opportunity. Inside the Bakuzen dojo.
After watching his own fate, Bakuzen silently lit a cigarette.
Saitama could kill Boros with one punch, yet he couldn't kill me with one punch. Theoretically, I am stronger than Boros.
I should thank Saitama for giving me this chance to surpass Boros. I must thank him in person one of these days.
Compared to Bakuzen's winning philosophy, Suiryu was panicking inside. When it came to posturing, he was even worse than Bakuzen. However, he hadn't grasped the winning philosophy like Bakuzen had. Therefore, Suiryu was terrified that he would follow in Bakuzen's footsteps and become a clown in the eyes of the public. Thinking of this, Suiryu prayed silently. He hoped that in the future, he wouldn't overdo the posturing, and he also hoped that Saitama would grant him some dignity. At this moment, a new video was revealed. On screen, it was Snake vs. Suiryu. At this point, Snake was already panting, his face full of exhaustion. In contrast, Suiryu was calm and composed, handling it with ease. I've always deliberately avoided thinking about this question because doing so is equivalent to denying myself. How troublesome, now I'm starting to think about it again. Recalling the past, Snake felt increasingly lost. Thinking back, that was my shining moment. I considered myself a special existence who saved the public, a true hero. That kind of confidence made me feel extremely satisfied. At this moment, the Deep-Sea King appeared on screen again. The audience was speechless. Why another one? However, reality gradually made me clear-headed. There are some monsters that no matter how hard I try, I cannot defeat. Even among ordinary people, there are those who are far stronger than me. Lately, I often wonder, does this world really need professional heroes? While questioning himself, Snake launched a fierce attack on Suiryu, but all of them were easily dodged by Suiryu. The two pulled apart and stood in a standoff once again. Even without people like me, without the Hero Association, there will be others to replace us in eliminating monsters. Snake's eyes dimmed. At the very least, the Suiryu before me has absolutely no need for my protection. Sensing that Snake's fighting spirit was wavering, Suiryu smiled slightly. Compared to you, the one called Max from earlier had more decisive moves. I'd like to ask you, you've only been dodging from start to finish. Why don't you counterattack? I just wanted to confirm your strength. A-class hero is a high-paying job, right? If someone of this level can qualify, it must be an easy industry. Snake looked unwilling. Why are you so strong? Someone without any conviction like you, on what grounds are you so strong? Suiryu shrugged. I guess it's just natural talent. The more I look at you, the more annoyed I get.
Back when I was studying martial arts, I just did enough to get by with my master. I haven't really trained much these past few years.
I actually want to ask you, why do you want to be a hero when you only have this much ability? Snake said angrily, Nanny?
Recently, many powerful monsters have appeared.
No matter how hard you try, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Regardless of whether there are heroes, those with the ability to survive will naturally survive. Regardless of whether there are monsters, weak creatures will still be eliminated. This is the law of nature.
Are you saying we should just watch people suffer monster attacks and do nothing?
Don't worry, people will survive.
Who do you say will survive?
The strong. At this moment, the camera cut to Tatsumaki on a killing spree, Garou preparing to challenge Watchdog Man, and Saitama sitting on the toilet.
Wait, what is that mixed in there?
The audience was quite speechless. The style, which was supposed to be quite serious, was forcefully derailed by that guy Saitama. However, the conversation between Snake and Suiryu sparked deep thought in countless people.
Is it deserved that the weak get eliminated by monsters? Must a hero be strong? No. That's not it.
As long as one has justice in their heart, protects and helps the public, even if they are just an ordinary person, they can be called a hero.
That's right.
Although Suiryu is stronger than Snake, he can only be called a strong person, not a hero.
A hero is a faith, and even more, an unyielding spirit.
Measuring it purely by strength is too shallow.
That's right. Please, heroes, do not doubt yourselves. Your heroic deeds are seen by the public. You must firmly believe that you are always the best.
Countless people posted comments praising heroes, like shots of adrenaline injected into the hearts of those obscure C-class, B-class, and A-class heroes, helping them regain confidence and even complete a transformation. Many heroes, after firming their beliefs, achieved breakthroughs in strength to varying degrees.
Clearly, this was also the blessing of the Alaya consciousness. Screen chat box. Saitama, I didn't expect Snake's awareness to be so high. I've changed my opinion of him.
Genos, sensei, although this Snake has selfish motives, when the public is in trouble, he really steps up. The Deep Sea King incident is proof of that.
Silver Phone, this Suiryu lacks true conviction.
He's fine when things are going his way, but if
the tide turns, I'm afraid he'll be easily crushed. Tatsumaki, just a frog in a well. Once the baldy finishes on the toilet, he'll teach him a lesson. Child Emperor, speaking of which, Saitama is really relaxed. He's already gone to the bathroom several times, right? Bakuzen at Saitama, please loosen up Suiryu as well.
I estimate I'll never be able to beat him in my life.
Please do it for me. To express my gratitude, I'll airship you a box of premium beef right now. Saitama, there's such a good thing?
Suiryu at Saitama, I think being a hero is the greatest profession.
I want to learn from you and become a true hero. Also, my younger sister Mizuchi wants your autograph. Saitama, asking me for an autograph? For real?
Suiryu, of course, my sister admires you a lot and even wants to get to know you. Mizuchi, audience, they had never seen such a shameless person.
Chapter 65, Garou awakens, Suiryu vs Saitama. Although most people were left speechless by Suiryu's recent actions.
However, some people felt that Suiryu was a man of substance who knew when to bend and when to stand tall.
Nevertheless, the audience still hoped that Saitama would give Suiryu a good thrashing.
For no other reason than that the guy was too shameless. Furthermore, in the video, Suiryu had indeed insulted the profession of being a hero.
This would certainly touch a nerve with Saitama. Even though Saitama usually seemed unreliable and even loved to act abstract, he still had his red lines. Suiryu's remarks in the video were already dancing all over Saitama's red lines.
Sensing the public's demand for an update, the new video was immediately revealed.
On screen. It was actually the match between Saitama and Bitter Bug. Before the match even started, the audience laughed. These two didn't even need to start fighting, just standing there, they naturally radiated comedy. At this moment,
Bitter Bug unleashed his internal energy, his body erupting with a powerful aura. Oh! Sharenko, let your senior brother teach you what true martial arts is. Make your move. Bang! The next second, Bitter Bug was sent flying by a single punch from Saitama, and the match was over. Inside the lounge, Saitama took off his wig to scratch an itch. Just then, the door suddenly opened, and Bitter Bug came in, shouting, "Hey, it's your turn to go out." Saitama was so startled that he immediately put his wig back on and clutched his head with both hands, not daring to turn around. Bitter Bug asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Why are you holding your head? Are you nervous?" Saitama stammered, oh. In that match against you, if I hadn't been careless, I might be the one holding my head and trembling right now. That semi-final match just now was terrifying." Suiria finished off his opponent with a single kick again. "However, your opponent isn't someone to mess with either. I believe he is the dark horse of this tournament." Bitter Bug said earnestly, "Be careful, Sharenko." Saitama was speechless, thinking to himself, why is this guy suddenly acting like a helpful senior? But I'm not even Sharenko. With that, the video ended. After watching this scene, Sharenko, who was still mopping the floor at the dojo, was moved to tears. He never expected that senior brother Bitter Bug would care about him so much. "Senior brother, I love you." Screen chat box. Sharenko at Bitter Bug, "Senior brother, I misunderstood you. Bitter Bug, Sharenko, it was my fault before. I shouldn't have been so hard on you. Sharenko, no, that was all your training for me, senior brother, just a bit too intense. Garou, watching you two put on this display of brotherly love makes me want to puke. If you have the time for that, you'd be better off training to improve your strength. Sharenko plus Bitter Bug, damn it. Garou, what did you say? Silver Fawn, Sharenko, Bitter Bug, although Garou's words are harsh, he has a point. Instead of wasting time on nonsense, you should spend more time honing your skills. Bitter Bug, understood, Master Bang. Sharenko, yes. Abandoned house in the park. Seeing the three of them getting along so well, the lone Garou snorted coldly, "Human relationships are just baggage, they only slow down my progress in becoming stronger. Just you wait, you damn bald egg, I'll defeat you soon." As he said this, Garou's hair and eyes were gradually turning red, and the ferocious aura he emitted even scared away the surrounding small animals. Garou had ultimately awakened the power of a monster. At this moment, the screen began to reveal a new video. On screen, Saitama finished off his opponent, Chose, with a single punch. And on Suiria's side, he also finished off his opponent instantly. Thus, the two reached the final. Void Fist Suiria vs Waterball Carbonated Fist Sharenko. Amid the cheers of the audience, Suiria took the stage and walked step by step to stand in front of Saitama. He leaned down, his face almost touching Saitama's, the two almost kissed. Seeing Suiria smiling lecherously, Saitama felt very nervous inside. This guy, could he be trying to kiss me? Or is it that he discovered I'm wearing a wig? Well, who will be the winner? The announcer's voice was as passionate as ever, a smile appears on Suiria's face. Is he already confident of victory? In contrast, Sharenko's expression is very blank. Is he trying to hide his nervousness? The audience outside the screen complained one after another. What nervousness? That's just how Saitama looks. He clearly has a handsome face, but this guy refuses to use it and insists on this stupid bald egg style. What's wrong with a bald egg? I think it's sacred. Exactly, the bald egg art style is so cute, it's making my maiden heart flutter. Look, what kind of monsters and freaks the bald egg style has attracted. Just as the audience outside was arguing endlessly, Suiryu in the video started acting arrogant again. Brother. Sharenko, enjoy the match. The moment the referee announced the start, Suiryu performed a spinning kick, stopping right beside Saitama. But strangely, he didn't kick him, instead, the wind pressure from his kick almost blew off Saitama's wig. Saitama quickly pressed his hand on the wig that was about to be blown away,
thinking to himself that it was a close call.
Seeing this, Suirya stepped back 2 paces with a playful smile on his face.
Immediately after, he dashed forward and delivered a front kick to Saitama's face. The intense wind pressure erupted, almost blowing off Saitama's wig again.
Saitama clutched his head with both hands and quickly retreated. Since it's the final, I originally wanted to test things out, but that wind pressure is too dangerous.
This guy, could he be doing this on purpose? Saitama imagined that Suirya had already seen through his true identity and broke out into a cold sweat. What's wrong? You can't possibly be unable to see my movements, right? Seeing that Saitama was still clutching his head, Suirya stopped holding back and showed off a series of super-fast kicks right in front of Saitama.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The terrifying wind pressure from his kicks even formed a tornado, kicking up a massive amount of dust.
The announcer commented, under Suirya's continuous kicks, Sharenko can only protect his head. Has he already lost his fighting spirit just as the match began? When the dust settled, Saitama was still clutching his head with both hands. But Suirya looked expectant. The announcer doesn't understand anything. That was just a warm-up. You're strong, right? I can tell because I'm strong too. Hearing this, Saitama realized he had misunderstood. Suirya wasn't targeting his wig after all.
Suirya said with conviction, your eyes aren't the eyes of someone chasing fame and fortune, but of someone pursuing something more exciting.
Saitama didn't deny it. Well, something like that. Why did you enter this tournament?
I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm here for the prize money.
Saitama thought to himself, I want the prize money too.
Suirya continued to show off, I have another goal, which is to have a fight with a strong opponent.
Although I will inevitably be the winner in the end, the process is still gratifying. Saitama asked curiously, pleasurable?
Suirya smiled, yeah, when you're strong, you'll naturally feel pleasure.
Naruhodo.
Saitama explained, I came here to experience what they call martial arts, because I heard martial arts is very hard to deal with.
But every time I make a move, the match ends. I thought it would be a wasted trip, but you seem different from the others.
At this moment, Suirya didn't know that Saitama's interest had already been ignited by him.
This guy was still showing off, still acting arrogant, I understand.
How about this, I'll let you experience it to the fullest, and you try your best to satisfy me.
Saitama agreed, oh, sure. Yash, then, let's get started. Suirya got into a fighting stance, ready to go. With that, the video ended.
Chapter 66, I would like to call Suirya the king of hardcore pretending outside the screen. The audience gave Suirya a thumbs up one after another.
Setting aside his strength, Suirya's act of pretending is absolutely nailed down. The thing I admire most about Suirya is that he doesn't feel awkward at all, he just keeps on forcing it. I would like to call Suirya the king of hardcore pretending. Looking forward to Suirya becoming the clown king. Jokes aside, Suirya actually has some skills. The few kicks he threw casually could actually stir up wind pressure. The power is indeed formidable.
Luckily, the wind from this guy's kicks didn't blow away Saitama's mask, otherwise his fate would be the same as Bakuzen, getting insta-killed. The funniest part is when Suirya pointed at Saitama's dead fish eyes and said that it wasn't the look of someone chasing fame and fortune.
I almost couldn't hold it in. If I didn't know Saitama's goal, I would have damn well believed him. The audience was amazed by Suirya's posturing. But Mizuchi had a speechless expression. It was also from this moment that Mizuchi made up her mind to come out of seclusion and suppress this unreliable brother. Lest he fool around outside, tarnish their grandfather's reputation, and end up selling himself out. Besides that, she also wanted to personally evaluate Saitama to see if he was the type she liked. At this moment, the video continued to play. Here I come.
Suirya stomped hard, shattering the floor, and shot forward like an arrow released from a bow, aiming a heavy, powerful kick at Saitama.
Saitama didn't dodge, only raising his left arm to block. Boom! Following a deafening roar.
Saitama was knocked back by a massive force, dragging a several-meter-long skid mark across the ground, barely stopping at the edge of the ring. If it weren't for Saitama exerting force in time to forcibly stabilize his body, he probably would have been knocked out of the ring. Suiryu grinned, naturally not missing this opportunity, and kicked out another rocket-flying kick. But it was dodged by Saitama. Seeing this, Suiryu raised his left leg and instantly threw dozens of kicks, all aimed at Saitama. The power was so great that every kick created a sonic boom, but all were dodged by Saitama. Keep going, keep going. Suiryu also got excited, once again raising his speed and power by a notch, and used a dragon tail whip, successfully kicking Saitama into mid-air. To prevent the mask from falling off, Saitama had to keep holding onto it with both hands, defending the whole time without attacking. Suiryu leaped up after him, instantly jumping above Saitama, performed an overhead bicycle kick, and kicked Saitama off the ring again. Boom! The ring floor collapsed and shattered, creating a deep pit, with half of Saitama's body embedded inside. That was close. Saitama just let out a sigh of relief. Suddenly, Suiryu arrived above him, grabbed his hands, and simultaneously kicked down at his face with both feet. Bang! In an instant, Saitama's entire body was kicked into the pit, with only his masked head visible from the outside. Seeing this, Bitter Bug was already terrified to the point of turning pale. Sharanko. Zakosu was also incredibly shocked. The strength difference is indeed too huge. Suiryu looked regretful. It ended by accident. Only the audience outside the screen remained indifferent to this, and even felt a bit like laughing. With just this amount of damage, Saitama's clothes are barely dirty. It's probably not even as painful as a mosquito bite. Suiryu is most likely going to get slapped in the face. I don't want to see face slapping, I only want to see papa. I'll make a blind guess. Saitama's first concern next will definitely not be any papa, but checking if his mask is still on. The guy above has really figured Saitama out. Sure enough, just as the audience had guessed, Saitama immediately checked to see if his mask had fallen off. Seeing that the mask was still there, Saitama breathed a sigh of relief, climbed out of the pit, and said nonchalantly, "That sudden strike you landed on me just now really scared me to death. I thought my mask was going to be ripped off." Saitama added silently in his heart. Seeing that Saitama was fine, Suiryu was startled at first, then grinned, becoming even more excited. Very good, this is the only way it's fun. Then, Suiryu bound his own arms and rushed out with lightning speed, his legs sweeping towards Saitama like a gale. Saitama still held his head with both hands, constantly dodging Suiryu's dense attacks. Your weapon is your fists, right? Suiryu suddenly closed the distance, looking excited. Throw a punch. Make me happy. Saitama was just about to throw a punch, but suddenly sensed danger to his mask. His expression changed, and he hurriedly retreated while holding his head, putting distance between himself and Suiryu. Suiryu was somewhat surprised. He sensed that I would counterattack? Although he's a newbie, his combat experience is rich. Knowing to protect his head shows his intuition is also very sharp. Listening to Suiryu's serious analysis, the audience outside the screen laughed their heads off. Thinking he had seen through Saitama, Suiryu's expression was relaxed. What do you usually do? Usually? Saitama was stunned. Let me think, just take walks, beat up monsters, and stuff. Suiryu was surprised. You even beat up monsters? You sound like a hero. Afraid of having his identity exposed, Saitama panicked a little and hurriedly made excuses. This. I think it wouldn't be bad to be a hero in the future. Suiryu was a bit disappointed. You actually want to be a hero too? That industry doesn't have much of a future, right? I just competed with an A-class hero, and they were incredibly weak. So-called heroes are just empty names. It's clearly just a profession, yet they insist on talking about justice and like to ask for rewards. Pardon my frankness, but no matter how hard people of that level try, they can't save this world. Hearing these words, Saitama's expression darkened, like weather covered in thick clouds, and like the dead silence before a storm. Suiryu was no exception. His eyes turned cold. Great ambitions, lofty thoughts, noble morals, heroic sense of justice, in the life of pleasure I pursue, these things are actually impurities that make me feel bored. It's rare for you to be this strong, so don't get distracted by these impurities.
Isn't it better to live freely? Seeing Saitama's aura becoming increasingly oppressive, and his art style becoming more and more like Jotaro's, Suiryu was confused. Huh? Did my words strike a chord? It's precisely because I acknowledge your strength that I'm kindly giving you this advice. Before he could finish, Suiryu, who had no sense of martial ethics, suddenly exploded into action, and with thunderous momentum, instantly landed a kick on Saitama's mask. Bang! This time, Saitama did not protect his mask. As the mask was successfully knocked off, the video also came to an end. Chapter 67, Suiryu doubting life. After watching the video, the audience broke into a cold sweat for Suiryu. I'm really afraid Saitama will blow Suiryu away. Suiryu is purely courting death. He doesn't even have the situational awareness of Dung Beetle, at least it could sense that Saitama is dangerous. The only one who can tell how strong Saitama is right now is Boros. Miss you, big brother who flies the spaceship. A-City audience. Actually, regarding the previous videos, the audience had just been watching for the fun of it. After all, with Saitama there, the outcome of this match would have no suspense. In comparison, the audience wanted to see how the contestants would get their faces slapped by Saitama. As a result, they didn't expect this guy, Suiryu, to appear. He actually dared to output damage in Saitama's face and dance wildly in Saitama's minefield. Suiryu has really narrowed his own path with this move. Didn't you see that Saitama isn't even wearing his wig anymore? Even if it means exposing his identity and losing 3 million, he doesn't care. This is clearly the rhythm of wanting to kill Suiryu. I wonder if Saitama's fist goes in, it can widen Suiryu's narrow path? Acting cool will make you fly. Regarding this, the audience is very expectant. C-City. A certain red light district. At this moment, Suiryu was covered in cold sweat. He didn't expect his future self to be so brave. Rubbing wildly against Saitama's prostate, it looks like it's about to misfire. Although that was done by his future self and has nothing to do with him now. However, this will inevitably leave a bad impression on the current Saitama. No, I can't leave a bad impression on Saitama, I still want to become his apprentice. I must find a way to make up for it. Right, my sister, Mizuchi. Thinking of this, Suiryu's eyes lit up. Feed the chicken, where there's feed, there's chicken. He realized this was also an opportunity. Saitama is still a single dog right now. As long as I strike first and let my sister take down Saitama, wouldn't I become Saitama's brother-in-law? By then, my seniority will directly double. If you want to do it, do it. Suiryu hurriedly left the red light district and went to the Suicho dojo to find his sister, Mizuchi. Coincidentally, Mizuchi was also looking for him. The siblings rushed towards each other and ended up having a fight. Of course, that's a story for another time. Just as Suiryu was taking action, the screen began to expose the video again. In this scene, a sad BGM started to play. Impurities? Saitama was expressionless, with smoke rising from his face. That's not important. Do you think you're the only one who is doing what they like? You're called Suiryu, right? At this moment, Saitama's art style changed abruptly, turning into a highly oppressive bald egg, slowly raising his fist and swinging it towards Suiryu. I'll give you a piece of advice too, if it's just for pleasure, then you'd better not become stronger. Saitama's fist broke the speed of light, and then, under Suiryu's incredulous gaze, it stopped steadily in front of him. Bang! But that terrifying fist pressure still blasted the clothes on his upper body from a distance, kicking up waves of aftershocks and dust behind him. Coming back to his senses, Saitama looked relieved. That was close. My old habit acted up again, I almost finished it with one punch again. In contrast, Suiryu was shocked, disheveled, his sturdy body covered in cold sweat, and his eyes revealed a look of terror. The audience at the venue was shocked. The audience outside the screen was no exception. Damn, Suiryu was almost gone. Luckily he stopped in time, otherwise Saitama's first time would have been taken by Suiryu. If he could really take Saitama's first blood, I think even if Suiryu died, he would have no regrets. Suiryu, I've been represented again? Suiryu, who was rushing to the Suicho dojo, had an expression of lingering fear. He had to find Mizuchi quickly. Saitama's first blood could only be taken by his sister, he didn't want to overstep his bounds. Perspective returns to the video. The host shouted excitedly, "What was that just now?" We discovered a shocking secret about contestant Shirenko, his bald head is actually wearing a wig. The judges are deliberating. Masaka. After deliberation by the 4 judges, they unanimously agreed that the wig-wearing Saitama violated the competition rules, and therefore disqualified Saitama from the match. The host announced loudly, "Unbelievable, contestant Shirenko is eliminated. The match ends here. The champion is contestant Suiryu." At this moment, Saitama had returned to his bald egg art style. And Suiryu was still immersed in the shock of just a moment ago. The audience complained noisily, "What the hell, keep fighting." Bitter Bug looked regretful, "Shirenko, do you already have the worries of balding at such a young age?" The cannon fodder on the side was speechless, "No, he's an imposter." Snake was shocked, "Psychio? How is he here?" The audience outside the screen was also speechless. This Bitter Bug couldn't even recognize Shirenko, he really needed to get a pair of glasses. Seeing his identity exposed, Saitama felt a little guilty. Worried that if he didn't leave, he would be sued by the organizers, he thought about running away. But just at this moment, Suiryu's voice came, "No more playing around, now it's for real." Suiryu stretched his muscles and tore off the fragments of his clothes, then suddenly exploded into action, punching Saitama on the head. Bang! The force of this punch was great, creating a sonic boom, but it couldn't shake Saitama in the slightest. "I haven't used my full strength yet." Suiryu let out an angry roar and swung a handblade. After Saitama dodged it, it slashed into the ground. Rumble! Crack, crack! The entire ring was instantly split in half. "Don't even think about running." Suiryu kicked out, and terrifying power erupted, causing half of the ring to stand vertically. And Saitama was stuck on it. Seeing this, Suiryu leaped up and unleashed countless sonic boom punches, hitting Saitama until his whole body was smoking, with roaring sounds all around. As half of the ring landed, Suiryu swung another handblade, fiercely slashing at Saitama's forehead. Bang! Saitama's forehead was smoking, but his tone remained unchanged. "Didn't you say it was for pleasure? I'm the one being forced, how could I possibly feel pleasure?" Dark Body Void Dragon Fist. Suiryu looked angry, spinning wildly with his right foot as the axis, rotating like a spinning top storm, throwing thousands of punches in 1 second. But no matter how fierce Suiryu's offensive was, he couldn't break Saitama's defense at all, just scraping him the whole time. "This guy, my moves are completely ineffective." Seeing that he still couldn't hurt Saitama, Suiryu gritted his teeth, then did a backflip, jumped to the other half of the ring, and shattered the floor upon landing. Then, he stepped on and shattered the stone slabs step by step, continuously gathering strength, walked in front of Saitama, and punched him in the abdomen. The terrifying force even shattered the ring. Thud! Unfortunately, such a terrifying punch only made Saitama retreat 2.5 meters. "Can't I even move him?" Suiryu looked shocked and began to doubt life. This punch of his was enough to blow up a demon-level monster, but it had no effect on Saitama? The audience shook their heads at this. "Showed off like a tiger, dealt damage like a zero, it's too weak. Little Suiryu, stop making your brother Saitama laugh. Look at Saitama, he's not dodging or blinking at all. Could this guy be using Suiryu as a masseur? Don't say that, seriously, don't say that. With Saitama's brain, it's actually possible." Chapter 68, Guketsu debuts. The Monster Association exposed just as the audience was discussing the fight. Saitama had already switched to his serious art style, and his magnetic voice rang out, "Naruhodo. I think I understand a little now." Suiryu rejoiced upon hearing this. "After fighting me, have you finally experienced the essence of martial arts?" If that were true, his hard work wouldn't have been in vain. Saitama nodded, then said solemnly, "So-called martial arts is something where the movements look cool, right? Hearing this, Suiryu felt as if struck by lightning. Shallow. This is the conclusion you reached after taking so many of my moves? Let me try it too. If I use that spinning thing from earlier to defeat a monster, it'll definitely look stylish. As he spoke, Saitama started imitating him, jumping and spinning in place, creating an extremely comical scene. Suiryu's face twitched violently. He felt this dead baldy was bullying him too much, and his psychological defenses instantly crumbled. Don't look down on people. Suiryu roared and charged forward, but he charged too hard and accidentally slammed into Saitama's butt. Thump! With just a slight nudge of his butt, Saitama sent Suiryu flying straight out of the ring, crashing into the wall of the spectator stands. At the same time, Saitama's pants slipped down, revealing the heart-patterned boxers underneath. Female audience members, eek, a pervert. Saitama looked embarrassed, quickly pulled up his pants, and bolted away. With that, the video ended. Seeing the final scene, the audience outside the screen burst into laughter. Good grief, that made me laugh again. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect Saitama to wear such flashy underwear. What do you mean flashy? That's called taste. It's simple yet creative, warm yet full of. Okay, I can't keep making this up. Poor Suiryu. He'll probably be like Suniko, living in Saitama's shadow for the rest of his life. Suiryu is far worse than Suniko. Not to mention Suniko has already stepped out of the shadow. In that legendary ball-busting battle, Suniko was the one dominating Saitama. Is Suiryu even worthy of being mentioned alongside Suniko? The Suiryu in the video isn't worthy, but the real-life Suiryu should be. The future Suiryu has already scouted the danger for the current Suiryu. He should really kowtow to his future self. Screen chat box. Tatsumaki, Baldy, your taste is too low. Aren't you ashamed to wear that kind of underwear? Saitama, you have the nerve to talk about me? Aren't you the same? Tatsumaki, you're lying, I don't even. Oomph, let's drop the underwear matter. How do you explain that hip attack? It's disgusting. Still saying you're not low? Saitama, how is it disgusting? It's not like I did it on purpose. Atomic Samurai, I also think it's a bit unseemly. Prisoner, I think it's quite good. As everyone knows, the vibration frequency of a butt is faster than a hand. If you used your butt to hold a sword and perform an atomic slash, the power would definitely reach a new level. Fubuki, my eyes are tainted. Silver Phone, sorry, Atomic Samurai. I've wronged you. I just imagined something dirty that I shouldn't have. Genos, is this a new move developed by Sensei? I must record it in my notebook and ask the doctor to modify me later. Watching the hero's discussion, the audience was at a loss for words. Are there no normal humans left? Chato Matt, has the screen gone off topic? Only then did the audience vaguely recall that the theme of the screen's exposure seemed to be the strongest human monster, Garou. But because Saitama's popularity was too high, the screen had to temporarily follow the public's will. The next exposure should return to the main storyline, right? I wonder how many heroes Garou has hunted, and if Silver Fawn successfully stopped him? Who knows? I really want to see it. Just when everyone thought the next exposure would be Garou, the video progress was still stuck at the martial arts tournament. In the footage, the participants were holding an awards ceremony. After the rewards were distributed, the host reminded the audience, currently, there are monsters causing riots outside. As a precaution, please do not leave the venue until the alarm is cleared. Monsters? Again. But if we stay here, we shouldn't have to fear any monsters, right? After all, there are so many experts here. Exactly. Hearing the announcement, the live audience was relatively calm. But at that moment, several giant blackbirds suddenly appeared in the sky, instantly causing panic. Then, a massive four-eyed monster stepped onto the center of the ring. It was none other than the dragon-level monster, Guketsu. Are all the participants here? Just a bunch of small fry. Has the world of martial arts declined to this extent? Forget it, all of you, become monsters.
As Guketsu spoke, he emitted a terrifying pressure, his 4 eyes looking down on everyone.
Even for third-rate martial artists like you, becoming a monster should make you stronger than you are now.
Under this terrifying pressure, most of the participants retreated.
Only Snake and Max resolutely stepped forward. Become monsters? We pro-heroes will be your opponents.
As expected of heroes, take him down. But the camera cut, and the two had already been kicked away by Guketsu, flying out of the arena.
Seeing this, the live audience finally panicked and began to flee.
At this time, Guketsu looked at the participants again. My purpose here is not slaughter.
I was sent by the Monster Association. My name is Guketsu. Small Fry was shocked. Nanny. Guketsu? The host turned pale with fright. Masaka, is it that Guketsu, the champion of the very first fighting tournament?
Hearing this, Suirya's expression shifted. He was clearly interested in Guketsu. Guketsu's voice was deep. Since you recognize me, that makes things much easier.
You should know that resistance is meaningless.
The host was puzzled.
But, weren't you killed by a monster several years ago? Why are you here?
Indeed, I once lost to a certain monster and was taken to their lair. But they decided to help me realize my ambition of obtaining everything. As Guketsu recalled the past, Joro and Orochi appeared on the screen.
By becoming a monster, you can easily surpass the limits that humans cannot. Do you understand? The current me is on a completely different dimension compared to the martial artist Guketsu of the past. After speaking, Guketsu pulled out several pulsing hearts from his robe and threw them in front of everyone. Eat these monster cells, and you can become monsters. If you don't eat, I'll slaughter you.
Faced with the threat of death and the desire for power, Rosie was the first to rush out, grabbing one and devouring it.
In the next second,
Rosie was enveloped in lightning, his muscles expanded rapidly, and he eventually turned into a monster version of younger Toguro.
After becoming a monster, Rosie was incredibly excited. Subarashi, power is surging through my body endlessly. With that, the video ended.
Chapter 69, Suirya starts showing off again. After this video, the audience realized that things didn't seem right. Initially, they thought the future threat was mainly the strongest monster, Garou. But now, they realized they had thought too simply.
Monsters actually have an association? Is this an organization similar to the Hero Association?
And this Guketsu is actually from the Monster Association.
And something called monster cells. It can actually turn humans directly into monsters and even amplify their strength.
Terrifying, truly terrifying.
By the way, where's that guy Saitama? Seems like he was scared off by the referee. What? Didn't they just drive away the guardian deity? We're doomed.
I could tell at a glance that this Guketsu isn't someone to mess with.
Don't worry, Suirya was still there.
As long as he joins forces with the others, they should be able to hold out for a while. While the audience discussed intensely, the Hero Association's nerves were also gradually tightening.
This suddenly appearing monster association is definitely organized and premeditated. If they aren't careful, they might be ambushed by the monsters. Normally, monsters wouldn't be restrained. Who has such great ability to actually gather monsters and form an association? I have a bad feeling. Could it be that the true god-level disaster isn't aliens, but the Monster Association?
Thinking of this, the Hero Association was so anxious they almost cried. It must be said that the appearance of the Monster Association is more intimidating and creates a greater sense of crisis than Garou, the strongest human monster. Although Garou has walked the path of a monster, he only hunts and doesn't kill, so the danger isn't that great. But the Monster Association is different. They are an organized, disciplined alliance of monsters, and they really dare to kill. If the Monster Association sends monsters to stall Saitama while launching large-scale attacks on major cities, the association would also find it difficult to deploy so many heroes for rescue at the same time. Damn it, if only we could find the Monster Association's lair. Then we could take the initiative and counterattack the enemy now.
Oh no, the Monster Association must be secretly watching the video too. Maybe they've already found Saitama's weakness from it. Saitama's weakness? Is it being poor? Could the Monster Association be planning to use money to corrupt Saitama? That possibility can't be ruled out. Immediately improve Saitama's benefits and welfare.
Additionally, send out reconnaissance drone swarms to scan the ghost towns of major cities.
We must find some clues about the Monster Association.
Just after Sitch's orders were issued, a new video was also exposed.
In the footage,
after Rosie turned into a monster, he had just finished tormenting Fatty when his neck was snapped by Chose. Even such a low-class person can achieve such incredible growth.
How interesting. With the strongest human genes, I should be able to awaken ultimate power.
After saying that, Chose picked up a cell and ate it. Then, his entire being underwent a world-shaking change, his whole body turned red, and his head became pointed, as if Satan had descended upon the world. Next, he instant-killed Jakuman with a single punch to test his power.
Is this monsterization?
Cho's eyes sparked with electricity as he thought of Saitama. Now, I can definitely kill that man.
At this time, Guketsu stepped forward. You're passable, kid.
The quality of the material determines the quality of the result. Hey, the rest of you trash, eat them quickly, or I'll destroy you. Facing Guketsu's renewed coercion, Bitter Bug and the others were terrified. Finally, Benpatsu, Hamakichi, Volten, and others couldn't withstand the threat and ate the monster cells, their bodies immediately undergoing massive changes.
Watching the contestants turn into monsters one by one.
At this moment, Swiria tied up his loose hair and smiled. The pressure accumulated during the finals is just the right chance to vent.
Oh, someone still dares to resist in this situation? Then don't blame me. The rule of the Monster Association is to eliminate all potential enemies.
Guketsu's eyes radiated killing intent as he immediately gave the order, move, take him out. Hearing the order, Benpatsu was the first to rush up, only to be instant-killed by Swiria's kick. Hakin was the second to ambush, but Swiria easily dodged and took him out with an elbow. Finally, Volten's whole body erupted with lightning, trying to electrocute Swiria, but Swiria used Benpatsu's body as a weapon and smashed him unconscious onto the ground.
Because your existence will interfere with my enjoyable life.
Now, only the monster Chose remained.
In the next second, Chose rushed forward quickly, trading kicks with Swiryu in midair. Boom!
Suddenly, Chose exerted force, knocking Swiria back with a kick, then rushed up to grab Swiria's hands and lunged forward with his horn, trying to impale Swiryu. Unexpectedly, it was blocked by Swiria's tightened muscleman. Swiria let out a roar, kicked Chose away with an upward kick, and then the two began a high-speed exchange of blows, their movements so fast it was dizzying.
Bang!
Each landed a punch on the other's cheek before pulling apart. Swiria struck a pose, looking composed. You've got some skills.
Some? It seems you're also an individual with a deficient IQ.
At this time, the sharp horn on Cho's head suddenly began to condense an energy ball.
I've decided. I will rebuild the world.
Only those selected by me are qualified to live, and you are not qualified, so, disappear. As soon as he finished speaking, Chose fired an energy ball at Swiryu.
Swiria's pupils shrank, and he immediately used both hands to push against the energy ball.
To prevent the people behind him from being caught in the crossfire, Swiryu could only grit his teeth and continue to hold on.
This kind of thing.
Finally, Swiryu let out a low growl and tossed his hands upward, actually throwing the energy ball into the sky.
What?
Chose was greatly shocked upon seeing this. Swiryu seized the moment, teleporting in front of Chose, grabbed his long horns with both hands, and used a knee strike to the face, forcibly snapping both horns off.
According to my selection criteria, you aren't qualified either. Swiryu smiled faintly. Let me enjoy this a bit more.
Foolish. Chose was enraged upon hearing this, his whole body flashing with electricity as he turned into a bolt of
light. Swiryu was not to be outdone and vanished from the spot.
The two turned into streaks of light, clashing with each other, creating countless sonic booms at a speed too fast to see clearly.
Void Shaking Tiger Fist. Void Phoenix Ascension Fist. Ultimately, Suiryu took Chose out with a series of combos, winning the battle. Through this battle, the audience's perception of Suiryu immediately changed again. They didn't expect that he also had a heroic sentiment, choosing not to slip away secretly but to stay and fight the monsters. Suiryu's move was awesome. I admit I was prejudiced before. Not only is he strong, but his personality is like a little wolf dog, cool on the outside but gentle on the inside. He's the ideal boyfriend. More than that, Suiryu has a bit of a bad boy vibe, high looks, and his outfits are so atmospheric. He's definitely the ideal husband. Boyfriends and husbands aside, Suiryu's big muscleman could actually withstand Cho's sharp horn. His defense is comparable to a low-end version of Super Alloy Darkshine. It's imaginable that if Suiryu underwent monsterization, he could probably reach dragon level directly, at least mid-dragon. Suiryu's talent isn't weak. Even without serious training, he has the strength of an S-class gatekeeper. His ceiling isn't limited to this. I suggest Suiryu go to Silver Fong to learn a thing or two. Chapter 70, The Terrifying Guketsu. Suiryu was brutalized seeing the positive reviews from the audience. Suiryu grinned, feeling delighted. He originally thought that after being sent flying by Saitama's but he would become a laughingstock from then on. He didn't expect that later on, he would have a chance to turn things around. Ha ha ha. As expected, boys who love to smile won't have too bad luck. But in the next second, Suiryu could no longer smile. In the footage, he wiped his forehead and looked at the blood on his hand, somewhat surprised. Oh my, it's been a long time since I bled. Monsterization is truly impressive. It's a bit of a pity to kill you, there's still a chance to join us now. Guketsu looked down from above. In the future, the world will be ruled by monsters. The strong can destroy and kill at will, enjoying freedom and violence to their heart's content. Living happily as a monster isn't a bad deal, wouldn't you say? Hearing this, Suiryu also picked up a monster cell. Bitter Bug and the others saw this with looks of disbelief. Masaka. Naruhodo. So no matter what becomes of the world, as long as one lives happily, it's fine. As he spoke, Suiryu brought the monster cell to his lips, appearing as if he was about to eat it. The video, however, ended at this moment. No way? My future self is actually going to eat a monster cell? Then wouldn't my previous actions just be a complete clown performance? Thinking of this, Suiryu didn't dare to continue watching. Meanwhile, the audience's attitude changed once again. Suiryu isn't really going to eat it, is he? If he really eats it, then he's a piece of sh*t, a loser, an a*** hole, and a total fraud. Whoa, so everyone was waiting for this. Suiryu, everyone, rest assured, if my future self really eats it, I promise to slit my own throat. Seeing the public opinion starting to turn sour, Suiryu didn't choose to distance himself immediately but instead stood up to give everyone his word. Seeing Suiryu's proper attitude, the audience decided to give his future self a chance. Of course, it could also turn into a chance for him to slit his own throat. It all depended on what the future Suiryu chose. The video continued. In the footage, just as the onlookers thought Suiryu might eat the cell, he directly threw the monster cell into Guketsu's face. Outside the screen, the audience cheered for Suiryu upon seeing this scene. Suiryu himself breathed a sigh of relief. This way, he wouldn't have to be a clown anymore. The perspective returned to the video. What a shame. I don't want to become an ugly freak like you. After saying this, Suiryu leaped up and, with a very cool posture, spun at high speed in mid-air, transforming into a spiral storm that swept toward Guketsu. Void Sky Dragon Fist. Bang 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 bang. Having taken tens of thousands of hits from Suiryu, Guketsu was actually unharmed, standing as steady as a mountain. Boom! In contrast, Suiryu was sent to the ground spitting blood by just one of Guketsu's punches. Refuse? Then you can die. Guketsu's giant fist was smoking as he looked at Suiryu coughing up blood on the ground, his voice cold. What? Out of tricks? I'll give you 3 seconds. Get up. 3, 2, 1.
just as Guketsu raised his massive, imposing foot, about to crush Suiryu to death. Suiryu dodged with a kip-up and then jumped onto Guketsu's shoulder, roaring as he began a frenzy of attacks.
Bang 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 bang.
Very good, quite spirited. Unfortunately, no matter how frantically Suiryu attacked, he couldn't shake Guketsu at all.
In the next second, Guketsu suddenly swung a punch. Thud.
Suiryu was shocked and quickly raised his arms to block, but his whole body was still sent flying dozens of meters away by the massive force.
Suiryu raised his arm and felt a surge of sharp pain. His expression instantly turned grim. Is it broken?
At that moment, Guketsu flashed behind Suiryu and pinned him down with a foot.
Crack!
A massive burst of power erupted, and the ground instantly collapsed, causing the Suiryu underneath to suffer in agony.
I'll give you 3 more seconds. Get up. 3, 2, 1.
At the very end of the countdown, Suiryu roared to the sky, using all his strength to break free from Guketsu's giant foot. Then, he leaped up once more, gathering all his strength to throw a punch.
Void. Shaking Tiger Fist.
This punch pierced through the air and broke the sound barrier, enough to shake a dragon-level monster. However, such a powerful punch was easily caught by Guketsu with one hand. Suiryu's face was filled with disbelief. My full-strength punch was actually...
Bang bang bang. Guketsu flicked his fingers, flicking Suiryu like a little chick. But each flick produced a sonic boom, showing how terrifying the strength was. Too strong. In every aspect, he's far beyond me. This is a monster.
Suiryu spat out a large mouthful of blood and tried to struggle to his feet, but he was kicked away again by Guketsu, rolling in front of those 3 muscle-bound big black birds. Seeing this, Guketsu gave an order to the 3 muscle-bound big black birds. You lot, this is rare, high-quality bait.
You can start eating.
Next, the 3 muscle-bound big black birds began their pursuit of Suiryu.
Guketsu watched the show while explaining, they used to be my disciples, but their willpower was weak. After monsterization, they lost their sense of self. The heavily injured Suiryu couldn't fight back at all and could only be ganged up on by the 3 muscle-bound big black birds. Damn it! This isn't looking good.
Suddenly, Suiryu saw Bakuzen below the stage.
Hey, I'm in trouble. Can you give me a hand? With that, the video ended.
After watching the video, the audience was shocked by Guketsu's terrifying strength. Suiryu, who was comparable to an S-class, was completely helpless against Guketsu and was beaten to a pulp.
Hiss. Could this Guketsu be a high dragon-level monster? Suiryu is so pitiful. He just finished being bullied by Saitama, and now he's being bullied by Guketsu. Unless Suiryu eats a monster cell, he has no chance of turning things around. Otherwise, I don't know how he's supposed to win. It looks like we can only wait for Bakuzen to save the day. With Bakuzen's support, Suiryu's situation should get a bit better.
Seeing his future self being treated like this, Suiryu swore that he would never participate in a fighting competition again.
At the same time, Bakuzen was also scared out of his wits. However, seeing how
terrifying the monsterized Guketsu was, his eyes lit up.
If even someone like Guketsu could be High Dragon, then wouldn't he be Dragon Peak after monsterizing? Wait, what's the use of being Dragon Peak? Can I beat Saitama? If I can't beat him, then wouldn't becoming a monster be a death sentence? Damn it!
Unless I can take down that Saitama guy, anyone who turns into a monster is an idiot. Facing Guketsu's terrifying threat, the audience was also worried about whether Suiryu would die. At the same time, everyone was looking forward to Bakuzen stepping in to turn the tide.
Even if he couldn't beat Guketsu, he could at least rescue Suiryu, right?
Sensing the public's strong desire for more, the screen quickly began to reveal a new round of video. That's it for today. Meet you in next part. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow. Your support means everything, so hit that button and let me know what you want to see next.